the Frugalista here. Today I'm making Spanish rice. Family favorite, we have it at least twice a month. In my pan here I have some chorizo sausage that I'm just sauteing down to get all the spices and the oils out of the sausage. You don't have to use chorizo, you can use boerewors, any sausage, any vehenes or whatever you have on hand. It's a dish that goes far. It can feed a lot of people. I mean, the piece of sausage that I have in here was quite cheap. It was under 50 rand. And yeah, so I'm going to leave the sweat out, the oils. And then over here in my air fryer, I'm going to fry some potato. So I cut it up in small pieces, seasoned it with smoky paprika, as well as some lemon and barbecue spice. So this is going to go in for 20 minutes in the air fryer at 180 degrees. And yeah, it will be the garnishing on the rice. Okay, I've removed the chorizo from the pan. It's cooked fully, nice and crispy. I added a small piece of butter into the oil, and now I'm adding my, that's the air fryer going off. Now I'm adding my onion. So I'm going to saute this onion very slowly. I want it to caramelize. I want it to become soft and brown, and it's going to be sweet. So it's going to take a bit of time. But what I'll do is I'll also add when it's softened sort of 1/3 of the way, I'm going to add the green pepper. And then as it cooks, I'm going to add white wine. Okay, this is what I want the onions to look like. You can see it's caramelizing nicely. It's soft and brown. You're not braising it. You're slow cooking it in oil so that it releases the sweetness in the onion. And then I'm adding my green pepper. About not a half, about 1/3 of a huge green pepper. And then I'm also going to add some garlic and some sort of Mexican original spices. When I say original, I mean things that are synonymous with Mexican food. Okay, so I'm going to let this sweat down, and then as it cooks, I'll just add bits of white wine. You know, where you would have added water. You don't have to add white wine. You can add vegetable stock, chicken stock. You can even add water, just as you normally would. Just do what, yeah, make the recipe your own. But this is what I like to do. It just adds to the flavor. Adding some white wine to deglaze the pan. Remember the alcohol in the wine. The alcohol burns off. It just adds flavor to your dish. Okay, so my onions and peppers are basically where I want it to be. Nice and soft and a little bit charred. I'm adding 5 cloves of chopped garlic. Okay, now these are the spices. This is a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, fine cinnamon. A 1/2 teaspoon, a 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. A teaspoon of cayenne pepper. 2 teaspoons of cumin powder. And a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. I'm going to give this about 3 minutes for the spice to just cook out on a very gentle heat. Put your plate on the lowest setting. I added 3 chopped tomatoes that I've skinned. So this is going to cook in the mixture until the tomatoes is completely evaporated or you've completely cooked into the sauce. How do you skin your tomatoes? Basically, you pour boiling water over the tomatoes, cover it completely, leave it for 5 minutes, and then you're able to pull off the skin. I'm also going to season it with about a third of a teaspoon of salt. Remember, I haven't added any salt, maybe a teaspoon. That's also going to draw out extra moisture out of the tomatoes. So I'll give this about 5 minutes and then I'll add the rice. So I've cooked 2 cups of rice, white rice, according to packet instructions. You can use any rice you'd like. Brown rice, wild rice, basmati rice. But I'm just using plain white rice today. So as the tomato is cooking down, you can add water. You only use about 1 cup of wine. So add water as the tomato reduces and the pan needs moisture. Then you add bits of water. So halfway through the tomato softening, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of sugar. Obviously there's tomato in here. And tomato's got a lot of acid. It always needs some sort of sweetness to counteract the acidity. So about 1 teaspoon of sugar. The tomatoes have cooked down nicely. If you want it finer than this, you can put it in a food processor and blend it till it's a chutney. But at this stage, I'm going to add back my chorizo sausage. Just going to mix it all through, give it time to all the flavors to meet up and incorporate. So I'm going to give it about 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm adding my rice. Lower the heat on the lower setting, and then just fry the rice in the mixture. If you need to, you can add a little bit of water. The pan is too dry. Smells divine. I can smell the paprika in the sausage. Okay, so just give it time to incorporate, for the flavors to mingle and come together. At this stage, you can also check the salt content. If it's salty enough, you can add additional salt and pepper. Okay, so the rice is done cooking. I added blobs of butter. I turned off the heat completely, and now it's time to garnish. So here's my beautiful potatoes. Can you hear how crispy they are? So I'm adding that to the pan. So I will just let it rest on top while the butter incorporates. And then garnish it with some coriander and slices of lime. Just leave it in the rice. The lime will draw in, and you can squeeze the juice over when you dish it up. So there you have it, beautiful Spanish rice with chorizo. You'll see the pieces of chorizo in here. It's a full-on meal. You can have it with a side salad if you wish. You can even have it with some guacamole or a nacho salad. I must share my recipe for a nacho salad on here. And yes, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you give this recipe a try. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Cheers.